वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा।
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll begin within a few minutes. I request Shri Shirode Sahib to deliver the welcome address. Shirode Sahib, तुम्ही कसं येणार आहात? मी BI पुणे. हॅलो. BI पुणे अनम्यूट.
Hello. Yes.
शिरोडे साहेब बोला.
Good evening, friends. Today, topic of discussion is need and necessity for training of the unskilled workers. The webinar is facilitated by Pune Center. I welcome on behalf of the Pune Center and US Zone, Shri Baburao Shakkarwar, the president of today's function, and the chief guest of today's function, the Bharat Wagh, the state chairman, the dignitaries attending the lecture, today's speaker, Mr. Subhash Pathak, and all BI members and non-BI members attending this webinar. Skilling the labor becomes beneficial to both the principal employer as well as the labor, because he can deliver better quality of work, as well as on behalf of as well as it benefits the laborer himself, as he gets a better understanding of what he is doing and why he is doing that. The principal employer gets benefit in the sense the work is completed in a shorter period of time and is a quality work. So as a result, we get better quality work and in a shorter period of time and in a lesser amount. I now request the today's chief guest, Shri Baburao Shakkarwar ji, to give his opening remarks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today's workshop on importance of training to skilled and unskilled labor is a part of the continuing knowledge spreading activity of BI. I congratulate Skill Development Committee of our Western Region Builders Association of India for organizing this workshop. The building, construction and real estate sectors in India currently employ around 33 plus million people. The bulk of that workforce, around 82.5%, constitutes of unskilled workers. Based on the growth expected in the infrastructure and real estate sectors, it is expected that about 83 million would be employed by 2022. The incremental human resource requirement between 2008 and 2022 is expected to be around 47 million, which is double than the present number. The sector will further continue to employ a large portion of this human resource with low education profiles. Hence, skill level needs to be continuously upgraded, comprising mostly of unorganized players the construction industry in India is highly fragmented. Considering that the construction sector was the second largest employer in India in 2017, the second largest FDI recipient in India in 2017, and paged to become the third largest construction market globally in 2025. It comes as no surprise that there is tremendous activity on the ground which will require a suitably skilled labor force. Giving evidence to this is a report by the National Skill Development Corporation, which estimates that India will need about 76.5 million workers in the various segments of construction landscape. But only 4% of that is skilled. The construction sector is specially geared towards a young workforce given the nature of the industry. If we consider that by 2025, around 70% India's will of working age, it will be a travesty if the shortage of skill continues and a unified scale up efforts is not taken to take advantage of this enormous human capital pool. From plumbers to machine operators, the skilling needs is a urgent to keep pace with India's infrastructure development plans. There are various factors which shows the huge requirement of skilled construction workers, like the various policy decisions and growth factors of Indian government. I do not want to list all these here, but housing for all, highways, etc. will need huge skilled construction workforce. I am sure today's keynote speaker, Shri Subhash Pathak, will brief the participants on this topic. I wish you all very informative evening. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
पैंजन साहेब स्वतःला अनम्यूट करा.
Hello. Hello.
You please introduce the speaker.
Good evening, everyone. I am Naresh Paindane, co-chairman of West Zone BIS Skill Development Committee. Today, I am introducing our speaker, Mr. Subhash D. Pathak. He has completed in his BE Civil degree in 1971 from COP Pune. He has certification of MIE Senior Professional Engineer in Skill Development. He has good knowledge of MS Office and AutoCAD. He retired as Vice Chairman Engineering MS Warehousing Corporation on 31st March 2006. And he has total 45-year experience. He has worked in irrigation project of canal structure and bridge across state highway. He also worked in industrial building like workshop, RCC building, factory buildings, warehouse building, administrative building, malls, IT towers, and sports complex. He has also done estimations works for Shashi Prabhu and Association Mumbai, likes vegetable fruits market at Kalyan, Women's University at Bijapur, auditorium and swimming pool at Sports Complex, Gondia, extensions of museum at Vidya Pratishthan, Baramati. He has done building works in Satara, Pune, Beed, Solapur. He has given training to governments and semi-governments, engineerings on plannings, designing, construction, and management. He has given trainings and guest lecture in various engineering college and construction management college in Pune. He has worked as training consultant to builders DS Kulkarni developers Private Limited, Pune, and RMK Infrastructure, Telangana. He has conducted construction project and contact management 2 days workshop arranged by HMG at Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, and Kolkata. He has conducted quality control 2 days workshop arranged by master trainer at Mumbai. Now I request to Mr. Subhash Patak to brief in this matter. Thank you.
Patel sir, the floor is yours.
Okay. So good evening all, my dear friends. So now I will share my PPTs. So I am very glad to deliver this lecture. As I am associated with BI since last 5 years as a jury member for the well-built structure competition, and this chance has been given to me. I am very much thankful to Mr. Pradeep Garge, who has recommended me my name, and Mr. Dilip Shirole, who after introduction he also found to be senior to me by 1 year. So I am very much glad that on such dais I have been given a chance. Okay, so let us share my. I will share my experiences. See, I started my career with the irrigation department, and that too also in the designs organization. And after that, after 3 years, I have been interested with irrigation projects of the aqueduct. And at that time, the main structure was given on contract to Mr. To Golani Brothers, Bombay, and the earthwork, that is approaches, was given to the department, that is mechanical department of the irrigation department. So I got a lot of experience there at only. So I will in brief give my synopsis of the lecture. So surveying, then the excavation, formwork and concrete, then MS reinforcement, masonry, plaster, tile flooring and cladding, plumbing and firefighting, AC sheet roof, then road machinery, roller and paver, and the material storages. The training to skilled and unskilled laborers for the cement, steel, coarse and fine aggregate, marbles and tiles, impact on floor during unloading of full press cotton bales, and the conclusion. See, so during my service in the construction department industry for the last 47 years. So after retirement also, I am putting my services to the as a consultant and as a trainer. So I got till today also I am getting latest knowledge of the technology which is being adopted for the training to the workers, that is skilled, unskilled laborers, and the supervisors, the engineers, then the project managers and the directors. So, but today's our lecture is limited to the supervisory and unskilled and skilled laborers only. Okay. So to start with, any organization, any project has this hierarchy chart of the supervisor, then project manager and the director. And their functions are, for the supervisor, operational control, then your project manager, that is administrative control, and the director for the you are taking the decision. Okay. So what is the benefits of the your operational control, and who are the stakeholders? Who are the stakeholders for the operations? So the stakeholders are the engineers, then your skilled, unskilled laborers, then your supervisors, 4 months. So, and on these operational stakeholders, see how much the quality wastage, then your time depends, that we'll be all the while discussing. Okay, so it improves the productivity, then the minimizes the unproductive man hours. What do you mean by unproductive? That means whatever work they carry out during the day. So out of, say, if they carry out 8 hours, so out of which it is lost by 2 hours, so that is which is not productive, which is not giving any results. So that is unproductive. Then the wastages. So whatever material they are shifting from, say, ground floor to the first floor, second floor, third floor, or the multi-story building, and if that material is not good, so if the labor is instructed at the initial stage to sort out the good material and the bad material, so this training has to be imparted to him, so that wastages are required to be minimized. Then economizing plant and machinery, the same thing holds good for the plants and machinery. Then you are reducing activity. So time is the essence of contract in everywhere. And in that case, the time is required to be reduced. That means overhead, that is time and cost overrun, are required to be reduced. So then and then we can achieve the productivity, and we can achieve our goals of completing the projects in time. So since now I will discuss with regarding the surveying. So since I worked in the irrigation department in the primarily, so the first job was to make this survey, that is contour survey of the your bridge side, canals, aqueduct side, and the approaches. So the approaches were of, say, 500 meters on upstream and 500 meter downstream, and your structure portion was, say, about 60 to 80 meters. So about a kilometer and so 1200 meters jurisdiction was in that to carry out the survey was not a easy task. And at that time I was given only the unskilled laborers. So that is the project affected persons. So to whom I taught how to hold the staff, how to measure the staff, then to make the grid of the spa for contour survey, how to make the grids at every 5 meters. So one string having demarcation at every 5 meter, and that also, say, 80 meter or 100 meter long, that string. Then we used to take the measures, take the levels very swiftly and smoothly. Then very important that every time the signaling required to be given for the, that is, instructions are required to be given to the workers skill, so that they understand and they act accordingly at a 500 meter distance also. So all this, then very important is that they have been also taught how to take the instrument from the box, dumpy level, and the theodolite from the box, and how to again reset it. So this is also a skill job, because it takes time. So so signaling is made, so that we taught to them. Then how to measure hold the staff. Then the very important, in every project, it may be a irrigation project, it may be your building project, it may be your road project, to prepare the TBM. So the mason is required to be imparted training. So what is that training? So that first of all, the TBM is a important one structure, and it has to be rested on the firm ground, that is foundation. Okay, then line and level is must, and especially the top level of the TBM should be perfectly. So with spirit level, it should be required to be verified. Then the finishing top, then making the center line and the rectangle on top of the TBM, and the maintenance of the TBM. So maintenance of TBM is also important. So that's why it has to be given provided plaster from all the sides, and that also a 1 feet below the ground level, so that during flood or during rain, it doesn't scour away. See, now this is the latest, that is the excavation. So with the help of your JCB, how the excavation is to be carried out, and where the excavated stuff is to be dumped. So this is a trench, so that's why it is to be, the precautions are very less. But in case of mass excavation, that if it is in black cotton soil, then it is good for the farm, but it is a treacherous soil, so it is required to be dumped away, or for only landscaping it can be used. So in excavation, so in my opinion and experiences, that the most of the accidents, fatal accidents, occur in the excavation only, in the stage of excavation. So I have at irrigation site, I have observed one fatal accident. So what was that? So it was that during recess of the excavation, excavation. So one labor was sleeping in the foundation trench, and that was collapsed. So it is my earnest request and the suggestion to all dear friends that the laborers are instructed to deposit excavated stuff as and where directed, so to avoid collapse of the sites and rework of the lifting and the untoward fatal accidents. So at no time laborers are permitted to take their lunch, rest, or play their children in the mass excavated trench or near the trench. See, this is also what is shoring and strutting is also required to be taught to them, especially for the work of the manholes, and that too also in the Bombay, or where the manholes are 40 feet deep below the ground. So there are the chances of the excavations are more. So that's why how the shoring and strutting is carried out. So that is very important. Then the safety precautions. So what are the safety precautions? So the first safety, that is the today we are using the radium tape, so that nobody is, that is the trespassers are not permitted to enter the inside the radium barricading. So in case of since I work at Bombay also, so where the pile foundation work was going on, so that is the so the laborers should not be permitted to step down in the bore to take away their chisel or any equipment. So the borehole may be 300 mm or the 600 mm, but they should not be permitted to go step down. Okay. Otherwise, there is chances of the fatal accidents are there. Then the backfilling the trenches. So how backfilling is to be carried out to avoid the shrinkage, to avoid the subsistence of the soil or the ground or the roads. So is very important. So I will show the pictures also. So the boulders and the so they rubble should not be dumped for the backfilling. Then in case of the tunnels or the intricate excavation places, care should be taken to have the communication. And that I will be also covering that in this modern era, the walkie-talkie is or the smartphones. So these are the instruments where you can have the real-time management also during the construction. Then in case of the excavation for the foundation in the Gauthan area, So Gauthan area, so care is required to be taken, because in Gauthan area, nobody is permitted to, because all the walls are touching each other's property. So if anybody desires to renovate or rebuild this property, so care has to be taken, and the training is required to be imparted to the laborers where to stop. So where to stop, that is to stop the excavation near abutting the property's foundation level. So if they want to go below the foundation level of the adjoining property, abutting property, then in that case a risk is involved. So this is very important. So training to the laborers is in the excavation is very important. Then the excavation in hard rock. So in the hard rock, the contractor is permitted to go up to the foundation level. And if the foundation is in hard rock, so, and if he carries away, that is the Pockland or the JCB operator carries away that excavation below the hard rock, because hard rock, he is not able to have control for the on the undulations. So the undulations may be where it may be 0.45 meter, it may be 0.30 meter, it may be 0.15 meter, or it may be a small level. So how to control it? So that's why the Pockland operator is required to be trained. So in my opinion, so how he is to be trained? So he should be cautious. First of all, he should be cautious before the foundation reaches 0.3 meter. Okay. So at 0.3 meter, from that 0.3 meter, he should be given that engineer should be there, that supervisor should be there, and he should be given a good signaling that he should stop it, and the excavation should not be done more than 8 to 7.5 centimeter, because up to 7.5 centimeter he can lay the plumb concrete and make it good. But below that, the contractor has to pay from his pocket. So that's why the training to the Pockland operator is very, very important. Okay. Then see, this is a case. This is a case for the excavation by the JCB operator, and that JCB operator, see, has done a havoc. See, this is a plot near the Indrayani River. The Indrayani River, and there the compound walls work was going on. And see, the water table is very at the higher level, and that JCB operator has excavated all the things. He should have excavated only 10 meter, so that the water should have not be accumulated there at. And the dewatering is also very heavy here. So the problem existed 8 to 10 months. So till the summer, when the water level in the river resides, then and then he could be able to tackle this excavation problem, and the collapse of the sites and everything. So removing the mud is a more risky job, more expensive job. So this is only because of the illiteracy of the JCB operator. Then now, see, this is the backfilling of the multi-story building, and where the boulders and the during excavation he got it more. However, you can see that all these boulders, after coming to the plinth level, developed road top level, so it is going to be subsided, and roads will be cracked, will be damaged. So that's why the backfilling is required to be done with a screen sand or the hard murum, and at every 0.3 meter, the Proctor density test is required to be achieved. Then and then this will stand. Otherwise, it will be of no use. Then the formwork and the shuttering and the concreting. So first of all, see, since I am also a L3 auditor, that is consultant to the CQRA, and we also observed the many shortcomings in the MNC projects. Okay, so what are those? So let us, I will share with you. So regarding the supports to the shuttering, so the props are required to be given shuttering. Then the double stage centering is in multi-story building. It is carried out for the terraces, because in alternate floor, that is one has given the floor, terrace, then other has given the your 20 feet high uh, terrace. So that is why how the double stage staging is required to be carried out. Then bracing at the top level, that is 1/3 and 2/3 level. In case of then removal of the time of shuttering is very important, and the props left behind. Then the what is slump test. Then see the level for the assistance of the engineer or the supervisor, the unskilled laborers are there. So they must be also given primary knowledge of the slump and everything. Then and then that work succeeds. Otherwise, whatever results are there, so those results may not be good. They not be as per the specifications. So it is the rework has required to be carried out. So let us discuss. So what do you mean by double stage shuttering and how it is to be carried out? So the skilled carpenters are required to be trained to erect the double stage centering. So where the height is not more than 20 feet. We assume that the 10 feet height of the prop is there for the bullies. Okay. So that I first experience I got it in the aqueducts. One of my neighboring aqueduct was a river, so which was having a very not 20 feet or less than 20 feet height. So in that case, in the year 1975, so all the while these trestles were not available. So that's why the contractors tried for the double stage shuttering on the wooden. So in case of wooden props, rest on 25 mm thick wooden planks. So as to distribute the superimposed load uniformly. So at every prop, so a plank is required to be laid, and on that plank it is required that props are required to be rested. So that plank should be 25 mm, so that all the whatever load comes on the props is evenly distributed on the ground riverbed. Okay. Then in case of the your multi-story building, so the ISMC 100 may be placed on the beams, and on that beams the props are required to be rested. And like this ISMC 100, or it may be ISMC 200, depending upon the structural design. Yeah, for sake it should be rested on your ISMC. Okay. Then provide longitudinal and transverse bamboo bracing, and the alternate bays are also required to be braced properly, and also provide cross bracing in alternate panels to both tires of the supporting. So see this is the picture of the double stage. So here, to that the carpenters to avoid wastage, they didn't cut the props properly. Secondly, that's why they are at the bottom. They are not in plumb. So this may invite risk. See that one prop is resting on the beam. It should have been rested on the plank, or in case of your props, the props should have been provided the base plate. So if the base plates are missing, then again it creates a punching shear. So the engineer or the supervisor or the skill, so they have been taught, they have been imparted training. भाई आप ऐसा मत करो, otherwise ये prop नीचे चला जाएगा जमीन पे. So now regarding the trestles. So trestles may be of size of 30 centimeter by 30 centimeter or 45. So these trestles are also required to be rested on the pakka flooring. That is, you may provide it CC 136 floor, and on that floor you provide the, in case of the bridges, you provide the flooring and pakka flooring, and on that pakka flooring you erect the pedestals. The pedestal height should not be more than 45 centimeter. Okay, so and that in that pedestal have provide the bolts, anchoring bolts to hold the trestles. Then in that the trestles here also maybe in 1 tier, 2 tier or 3 tier depending upon the height of the trestle. Generally the height is 8 feet, that is 2.4 meter. Okay, then in case in this case also provide longitudinal and transverse and the cross bracing at say by the 25 mm bars. So all these precautions are required to be taken, and it should that the at the time of casting the slab also, because the previously the slabs were solid slabs, and this for the 10-meter span the thickness of the slab was 90 centimeter. So the skilled carpenter is also required to be deployed at the time of casting near the your trestles. See, this is the type of the trestles which are also required for the your bridges. And see, this is see, every now and then I'm tracing that the good constructional practices should be there. And in this case, you can see the props have been support has been given on the column, and the reinforcement has been made it like that. And here the props are here 10 feet. So it is the chances of the buckling. So there are chances of the inviting risk and the damages and the collapses also for the beam. This is the sheer negligence of the project manager. Now, this is a, see, in the excavation for the 28-story building, excavation for the 28 building story. So the engineer is standing there. He is imparting the training. He is imparting the instructions to the carpenters, and they see the foundations, how the raft is to be laid, how the footings are laid. So such training is required to be important, is given to the skilled, unskilled laborers every now and then. Then the success lies. That the success lies in the that building. So that is your zero. And nowadays the MNC companies are expecting that the zero accident should be there, and it is reviewed at every day or a week. Now, this is IS 456. Dear friends, the foremen, the carpenters, and the skilled laborers, though they are not aware of the 456, but we have to make them, we have to give them some primary knowledge. We have to give them. So what is that primary knowledge? So for in case of your sides, after casting the your slab or column, the minimum 48 hours should be left. So after 48 hours, that shuttering should be, side should be removed. I would cite my own experience that in the year 1980, when I was working at Bombay and on a big project. So there that carpenter one fine morning approached to me in my site office and told me, sir, that I have destructed the side shuttering of the column, and the column has been collapsed. after 48 hours also. So the problem started there. So how it happened? So when we investigated, so it was a spurious cement. It was a bentonite. Literally, the ISI was called. ISI was called there, and the thorough investigation was carried out, and it was bentonite. The supplier supplied the, and we could not test each and every bag. So, dear friends, so that is why this is a very confirmatory test, that after 24 hours, if you remove it, and if the shuttering is that column remains there at, so it's a good cement. Then regarding the slab and that 3 days, that is the soffit is required to be removed. So this primary knowledge is required to be imparted to the carpenter. Then the soffit of the formwork to the beam. So depending upon span now. So what is span? So that is also required to be primary knowledge given to the and this primary knowledge, and it should be by default is to be followed by the carpenters. So 7 days that props to be removed immediately after removal of the formwork for the slab and beam having span less than 3 meters. Then if the span is more up to 4.5 meter, beyond 4.5 meter, then 14 days. So, and how that props are required to be, if it is multi-storied, how that props are required to be left behind. So that is also one of the skill, and that I will be showing the photographs, how the engineers are neglecting. Then the props for the spanning for 6 meter up to 14 days, and beyond 6 meter 28 days are required to be left. So what is that training is required to be important to the carpenters, to the skilled laborers. So that is very important. It is very important to impart training to carpenters regarding which temporary props are left behind as support to beam when the upper story construction of the casting column, beams and slab is in progress. See, nowadays, to the best of my knowledge, 18 days cycle is repeated. So 18 days, and if it is your early form or your my one shuttering, so the it is 10 days cycle is repeated. So under such circumstances, after casting the slab and the period mentioned in the IS 456 as per the span, the stacking of the bottom props are and the centering ply that we have studied. Okay, so the bottom ply is carried out. However, when the upper construction is in progress, it is necessary to keep the certain props as support to bottom floor beams. How? So I will show the images, and that will be self-explanatory. Those are self-explanatory. See, and that also at Bombay, and that also in MNC companies. So the generally 3 to 4 props are generally left in the 3 to 4 meter span. However, it is important to keep the props below the junction of two beams. Okay, and second one, junction of the two beams, and second one, when the beam length is more than 3 meter, then the plywood is required to be lapped, and that lapping is also where that one prop is required to be left behind. So I will show the, see here, the one is main beam and support, this is, second one is supporting the other beam. So the prop has been provided, but it should have been provided at the junction of the beams. So both the props are there. It is surviving. See, in the civil engineering, the factor of safety is 2.5. So that is why it is surviving. So it should have been left, it should have been kept at the below the junction. This is my interpretation and the suggestion. Then see here also. Here at the lapping portion, the prop is not provided. It is provided, but at lapping portion it is not provided, and at junction portion it is not provided. See here. Here you can see the clearly the lap is there, but the prop has been provided beyond that lap. So what is that use? Here also. So these are the this is training is required. Then and then there will be a zero accidents. Now this is regarding your form. So this in Constro, n number of companies are there. So from I have taken the snap there from there at and see the accuracy, see the plumb, and that is required to be taught to the carpenters. Now regarding the concreting. So for work, we have to take utmost precautions, and you are now concreting. So what is, so see, nowadays we are getting all the concreting by RMC, but most of the concreting is also required to be manufactured at site by the volumetric basis or your weighment basis. So what are the likely mistakes, and what is the domain where the skilled, unskilled laborers are required to be given training? So first of all, the dimensions of the measuring boxes. Dear friends, what are the fresh engineers doesn't even know the dimensions of the measuring boxes. So this training is also required to be imparted to the laborers. That the 0.3 by 0.3 by 0.375 meters. So this is the okay. Then the hand mixing and the concrete mixture machine procedures. What is that? Then the placing of the concrete. So all the images I will be showing recently for the A1 contractors. The concrete should not be poured from the height of 1.2 to 1.5 meter. Then how to insert needle vibrator in the concrete. So that is also training is required. Then where to vibrate the concrete in formwork. That is also important. Then how long to vibrate the concrete. So see, the vibrator is required to be inserted at the center of the formwork and not at the side. Okay. Then what is the conformity test that the vibration is completed? So as soon as the bubbles, air bubbles from the concrete stuff remains to, so that vibration is complete. Okay. So this is the thumb rules are required to be taught to the skilled person, one who operates the vibrator. Then in case of deep sections, concrete should be filled in 3 layers. So in case of your basement floors, on that basement, the 28-story or 50-story building rests. So the beam size is 1 meter, 2 meters also. Okay. So in that case, it is to be required to be filled in 3 layers. Then nowadays, due to advent of the technology, now we use the self-compacted concrete, but it is also required to be filled in layers. Okay. So precautions is required to be taken. Then however, the care should be taken to vibrate the previous here also. I will show you in case of the your walls of the lift, shear walls of the lift. So the thickness is 20 centimeter and the cold joints are formed there. Why? Because the bottom concrete and the top concrete, so the difference in the laying the concrete is more than 1 hour, 2 hours also, and the bottom concrete is already set. So though it is now, this is the picture. Now see, here the soil is being contaminated. The soil is being mixed with the your metal. Your metal is very good. However, that laborers are not given training, or there must be a supervisor should be there, and he should all the while give them instructions. Now see, this is also a picture. This is Weyman batching. So that is volumetric batching. So see, the hips are to the sand, hips are there. So that is beyond your pharma size. So naturally the sand will be more. Now see the effects. These are the ill effects. So what is that? Honeycombing. What do you mean by honeycombing? So in the honeycombing, the voids which are more than 6 millimeter, and those are connected with each metal. So then and then that so and superficially a skin is there, and that skin is required to be removed with the mallet, and then you can see the severeness of the honeycombing. So especially in the water retaining structure, this is very dangerous. So that is why the skin is required to be always that water retaining structures are required to be tested with the mallets. And if it is give you ringing sound, it is good. If it is give you hollow sound, then that concrete is not good. It is bound to be there. And especially in the case of beams, in the case of beam where the steel reinforcement is in 3 tires, the chances of the honeycombing at the junction, that is in shear zone, are more. So now this is regarding your concrete placing by boom placer. Okay, so in that boom placer also, that boom placer is required to be, that is a feet or 2 feet high from the reinforcement, and not more than that. Otherwise, again, there are chances of the mixing the air, or honeycombing is there. So how the hose is to be required to be hold. So that is also required. Training is required to be imparted to the workers. Now, see, though the engineers are there, but the training is also required to be given to the supervisor. Okay, so what is that training? So what do you call by honeycombing? What do you call by crazing? Why this crazing has occurred? The crazing has occurred because there is no improper curing is there. And why then again, it is the responsibility of the engineer to differentiate whether there is structural crazing is there or non-structural crazing is there. But problem remains there regarding the leakages. So this is the cracking, and this is the disintegration. Now the quality control is required to be enforced at the sites. So first of all, the grading. So because the assistants are your unskilled laborers, with the quality control supervisor or the quality control engineer, the assistants are. So what is that? So at least they must know the your sieve size. So 20 mm, 10 mm, then your 6 mm, then your 4.75 mm, and then your 2.36 to 1.18, then your 600 mm micron, 300 mm micron, 75 mm. So all this, they must given be training. So what is the importance of the sieving? Because every truck at the RMC plant also, every truck is required to be sieve analysis of the metal, and then that project engineer can take the decision for the gradation and the mix design. Then this is also the training regarding the slump cone. Okay, so especially for the slump for the self-compacted concrete. So here also that what is your T50 and what is the total slump. So T50 means the time required to pass the concrete in a 500 mm diameter circle. So that is the slump. then your 1000 centimeter mm diameter, that is the slump. So whether it is 890 or 650 or 850. So all these measurements are we have to teach to the skilled laborers. Then regarding the slump cone also. So the 100 mm top diameter, 200 mm. So primary knowledge is required to be, I mean to say primary knowledge is required to be important. Then the MS reinforcement. See, in MS reinforcement, especially for the saline area or the area, coastal area, the training is required to be given to the laborers, that is the bar binding workers, that the ends of the binding wire should be taken inside and not at the outside, because if it is kept outside, then it becomes a source for the your penetration, ingress of the water, and that becomes the ingress of water, not only but the ingress of the your carbonation also. And in so yeah. Secondly, what is the training is required to be imparted? So nowadays the government has made it mandatory to provide your ISI mark at every 1 meter. Okay, so at every 1 meter they should, in the consignment they should verify it. Okay, so like this, then the see now here this photograph shows that the when we check the center line at the time of the plinth level, we found that the center line is not matching, and that bar bender has made it given the bends to the or we may call it the wrong hunching. As per IS code 1 in 6 is hunch is permitted, but this is not 1 in. So this is a very serious case. So this training is required to be. Now here also the training is for the thick reinforcement. So all the bars are required to be tagged, required to be fixed with stirrups. Okay. Then the bottom bars are required, that the corner bars are required to be taken into 45 degrees splay. Then that shear will be controlled. Then the latest for the bars which are more than your 16 mm dia, generally the coupling is provided for the big projects. So what is that coupling? That primary knowledge is also required to be imparted to the that bar bender. Now, this is a very common experience, and I am very whenever I inspect site, I find that the hooks are not properly bent. So the hooks are, first of all, 9D hook should be there, and that angle should be 135 degree. So this is not observed at many places, and we find out that these drawbacks are there. So this is the training is required to be imparted. Now regarding the masonry, see the masonry. This is a lively for the retaining wall. So about 2.5 meter height retaining earth is retained from the inside. So the mason is required to be imparted training regarding the headers, importance of the headers. Okay, and the importance of the V-poles. So how the filter metal is provided. So the metal filter is provided of the 0.3 meter of the 20 mm. Then your of the height of say 15 centimeter, then the your 10 mm, then your screen sand, again your 20 mm metal, then again your 10 mm, again screen sand, and about 0.3 to 0.45 meter by 0.45 meter uh, at the mouth of the that pipe is required to be filled. Otherwise, it is of no use that all the soil, all the embankment will choke up that pipe, and it will be of that surcharge, that is this saturated earth pressure will be more, and it will not be released, and the cracks will start. Okay, and here also the type of the rubble, it should be square one or the rectangular one. So I at haphazard size, and the joints are also more than 25 to 40 mm. Now the latest technology for the we provide the modified polymer modified mortars. Traditionally we were using the mortars in 1:5, but now we are using the Buildtech, that is the polymer modified mortars for the AC block construction, and which is nowadays it has versatile. So here also the training is required to how much thickness is required to be maintained, because the traditional thickness is 12 to 15 mm. In here the 4 mm thickness is sufficient. Otherwise there will be no economy. Then in case of bridges, the training is required to be imparted to the carpenter and to the mason also. So what is that training? So what do you mean by better? What do you mean by better, and how it is to be checked? So for the peers, if you give, for example, if you give 1 in 10, so what do you mean by 1 in 10? And how it is to be checked every now and then for the every layer, or every 30 centimeter or 45 50 mm layer, sorry, 500 mm layer. So one template is required to be made, and that in that template, so that the engineer should give that template, he should measure it, and you should give it to the mason, to the carpenter, and then he will otherwise he will have to give one sheet. On that sheet, in at every 1 meter, how much there will be reduction in the width. So all this training is required to be imparted. See, the engineer's responsibility is very much. So engineer has to pay attention on this training also. Then cement plaster. Then training to unskilled and skilled laborers. So what is that in cement plaster? First of all, the cement mortar is required to be mixed in the MS tray and not on the virgin slab. Okay. Then what is second? The mortar is required to be plaster that should be prepared for the only 2 hours, and depending on the strength of the masons deployed and the scope of the work. A stale mortar, that is the mortar beyond 2 hours, should not be used at all. And what happens during a lunch, that before lunch they prepare the mortar, and then they take the lunch of 1 hour, and after lunch they use it by mixing some dry cement. So that is a very untraditional practice. I am not. I observed it at many places, because contractor tries to save the cement, but his labors, and he gets the effects, bad effects after that, when the plaster peels off. Then the mason also is required to be trained to avoid the use of dry cement, especially when you provide the bands. So he provides the dry cement, that mortar is stuck, but after 6 months that plaster gets peeled off because of the debonding. Then in case of the plaster work in hot sun, then sprinkling of the water needs to be started, and that skill, if you teach the laborers, so if the small hair crack starts, so sprinkling, what is the sprinkling? So very small dose of the water, very sporadic, and not by putting the mugs and mugs of the water there at. The mason or skilled or unskilled labor who suffers from epilepsy, or you may call it Mirgi disease, shall not be deployed at work at height. Dear friends, dear contractors, that you please make a point. The person or the mason or the who suffers from Mirgi or epilepsy should not be deployed at the work at height. They should be deployed at the ground only. Now, here see the latest work of the painting. Latest work of the painting. You can observe that the scaffolding has been done with the bamboo, and you see the end of the bamboo. So the end of the bamboo. So they are not made it resting on the ground total. Only the point is resting, and that the bamboo portion is getting cracked, and there are then chances of the cracking of the collapse of the, because the load is coming on that bamboo. See, not one or two, one can understand, but everywhere. See, here also, here also. So this has become a practice. So this is the negligence of the engineer. So they are not taught it correctly. Now the tile flooring. What is that tile flooring? See, I observed Taj Mahal. So Taj Mahal now it is a monument of 367 years, 68 years. Still, these are the natural stones, and those are stuck up. Those are having good bond. So what is the remedy? What is the secret behind that? See, at one place only I could catch this photo. So previously, 367 years ago, that lime and surki mortar was used to be provided thereat, and that gave good bond. But nowadays we are not getting. Tiles are peeling off. Then plumbing and firefighting. So what is the primary knowledge? So primary knowledge that we should impart to the your laborers, skilled laborers. So what is that? Color code. So C class, that is the heavy pipe. So that this much C class means heavy pipe, and it is shown by red colors. This is the code approved by the IS code. Then B class, that is the pipe for the blue, and the A class, that is pipe for the. So training is required by when it is exposed. Then you provide the C class. Then it is inside. So you provide B class, and for very limited or the unimportant works, you provide A class. So like that, the instructions are required to be passed on to the. Okay. Then in case of the UPVC, so at least you must inform them the long form. So what is long form? So UPVC, that is unplasticized polyvinyl chloride. So what are their properties? A rigid, chemically resistant form of PVC. What is CPVC? Chlorinated PVC pipes, polyvinyl chloride. So what is that between difference? The use includes hot and cold water pipes. So at least we must train like this. Then this is how it is to be stacked. This is how the pipes are there for your CPVC. Then this is the precast pipes, precast. So how those are to be stacked, and that also spun. So see these are the manholes. So sorry, inspection chambers. And here that inspection chambers, that is what do you mean by light duty? What do you mean by medium duty? What do you mean by heavy duty? So that is also, at least we must give them this is the duties, and it depends depending upon where the manuals are provided. Then this is the lift. So lift at the bottom. So how the precautions are taken, so that we must give the instructions to the carpenter. So this type of the ideal centering is required. Then and then it becomes watertight. Then fire fighting. Then asbestos. See, now the asbestos, since I worked about 20 years in the warehousing corporation. So I have seen many fatal accidents. So how to avoid it? So the precautions are required to taken to prevent fatal accidents due to falling while fixing AC sheets on new roof or the repairs of the warehouse. So that I will say. Then so that means the safety belt is required to be taken at fixed to the for workers. And secondly, that worker must walk on the AC sheet where there is purlins are there. And how he will come to know when he's when he's walking on the top, how he will come to know the because where there are J hooks are there and there he should put his leg. Then and then he will survive. If he puts his leg in the your valley, it is bound to crack and he is bound to fall in case of the old structures. Then how to stack the AC sheets? That is also one of the see here from this picture you can see that worker has been provided the safety belts. And here also I would like to insist that safety belt should not be more than a 3-meter length. Otherwise, it is of no use. He will sustain the injury. Here, how the AC sheets are required to be on wooden battens are there, and only 3 battens. One is at 2 at corners and 1 is at center. Or you may stack it on the sand bed, or you may stack it on the rice bed. यानी पैडी के ऊपर आप वो रख सकते हैं. Then now the road roller and the paver. So at least primary knowledge. So where what is that primary knowledge? So primary knowledge for the road rollers driver. So what is that cohesive soil? What do you mean by non-cohesive soil? Because he by his experience he gets the rolling achievement. Okay, but the cohesive soil. So what type of the roller he should use? The smooth wheeled roller. What is that? Then what do you mean by pneumatic? What do you mean by vibrated roller? What do you mean by shift foot roller? And what do you mean by power rammer? So all these I will show you by. So this is your static roller of 8 to 10 ton capacity. Then this is your vibratory roller. Then this is your pneumatic roller. So all these are required to be shown to the. Then this is shift roller, especially used for the your earthen dams. And this is the paver. So in paver, the skill lies of the operator for the construction of the road, that he should give a proper camber. So that the work that in storm water flows very smoothly. So this is how this camber is required to be provided. But this knowledge is required to be imparted to the paver operator. Dear friends, this is in regarding the super elevation. So all this primary knowledge is required, though we are engineers, but he is not an engineer, but primary knowledge is so in how many width there should be rise in the embankment and rise in the your layers, concrete, or it may be asphalt layers. Then the last point, you please bear with me situation, 5 minutes. Okay, so how the materials are required to be stacked is very important, because from that material only you construct the building or the roads or like that. So regarding cement, those cement I will see. This is the scientific storage. So the cement is stacked on the first one, that is on the wooden pellets. Okay, then the height of the stack is 10 bags of the cement. That in one pile there should be 10 bags. Otherwise, cement gets sit, and that is the after you keep it for 1 month, 2 months, a set is formed, and that is required to be loosened. Then secondly, from the walls, alleyways of 1 meter are required to be kept. Okay, and from at this center also. And very important is that this cement receipt and issue should be based on the first come, first out. So whatever cement comes in the first, that should be issued for the very first. Then the heavy steel section, the steel is required to be diameter wise, and it is also to be stacked on the sand bed or on the what you call it as wooden bullies. The bottom layer should be on wooden bullies, and then on it should be stacked. Okay. Then the heavy MS angles and the channel sections, how they are stacked. So see, these are the steel bars. So these are the below the metal layer is laid, and on the metal layer that bars have been stacked like this. Then for the steel sections, that is plate section, the channel section, angle section, beam section, how it is. So these are to be stacked. Then this is the light section, how those are to be stacked in the racks. Then storage of the coarse and fine aggregate that I shown you. So the first of all, the coarse and fine aggregate are required to be stacked on the Pakka platform, so that the soil doesn't contaminate and good RMC concrete is or the concrete is formed. Then the scientific storage of the stacking the tiles. So the tiles are to be stacked vertically and not horizontally. Okay, and that also only two tires, and the first tire should be more. See, it is having more length, and the first upper tire should be having less length. Then otherwise it will collapse. Then handling of the cotton bales. See, what do you mean by cotton bales? See, the cotton bales, when the cotton is pressed together, a bale is formed, and that bale weighs about 180 to 200 kg. And in the warehouses, especially in the Vidarbha, so the cotton growing is more, or Khandesh, or the Jalgaon, Dhulia, then your Buldana, all the then your Amravati and Nagpur. So cotton is well bumper crop, and the bales are formed. So the bales are about 180 to 200 kg one bale, and those are stacked in one godown. Those are stacked about 2,500, and that the height is about 4.5 meter. So in stacking, no problem arises. But when you deliver it, so what that Hamal or Kuli does, he throws the bale from the 4.5 meter height on the concrete floor. So due to impact, that concrete floor starts deteriorating. So the floor is required to be damaged, and every time you have to make it good. But once you make it good, no, it is not lasting because the patchwork doesn't remain everlasting. So all the floor is required to be replaced with the. And in case of your tripod also, for the measuring the food grains, the tripods are also required to be, bottom of the tripods are required to be fixed with the cloth gunny bags, so that that tripod doesn't enter the damage the floors. So what are my conclusions? First of all, the skilled and unskilled laborers are clever. Those are human beings, those are clever, and their potential needs to be tapped by utilizing utilize for speedy, quality, and completion of the project. Okay, speedy work. Then by imparting training to skilled and unskilled laborers, wastages, rework can be minimized, and productivity can be increased in projects. The engineer can save time and cost overrun. The employer or the builder or the promoter can achieve customer satisfaction as per IS 9001 and fetch more profit. If they observed that wastage is less, time and cost overruns are less, then and then they can fetch the profit. Otherwise, no. Then maximum utilization of the resources such as man, material, and machinery. Then the skilled and unskilled labor supervisors. So with the, what is the latest technology? Training to the skilled and unskilled, in my opinion. So with the advent of the technology and improvement of the in financial status and supervisors, skilled and unskilled laborers, in my opinion, real-time management training needs to be given to improve the productivity, quality, and avoid time and cost overruns. So how? The smartphones are operations and training is required to be for conveying the messages for the bad quality supply of materials. So the foreman can give this information to the project engineer. Then he can take the photographs and send it to the project manager for approval of the workmanship, for the quality, line, level, and the remote intricate places. So I say a 30-story or 40-story or 80-story building construction is going on. So messages must be there. Then the communicating real-time progress of work for further planning of the for the project manager. Then same thing holds good for the communication between the concrete boom placing workman at remote place height or remote boom placer pump operator at ground level, because that boom placer operator remains at ground level and the worker remains at height or at the bottom of the foundation. So there must be some communication. Then this can be applied for painting also, for the multi-story building, and repairs and rehabilitation of the crack, damage or AC sheets, roof, walkie-talkie. Communication should be there between the Mistri and the engineer at warehouses. So this is my observations, and thank you very much that BI has organized this. BI Pune has organized this program. So I am very much thankful to them, and let us conclude this session. Concluding session from my end. Thank you very much.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please stop the sharing.
Yes, yes.
1 minute. Huh? Participants, those participants who have questions can raise their. Acha, we have Shakarwar Sahib. I think he's joining us. In the meantime, those participants who want to ask questions can raise their hands using the facility in the app. Shirole Sahib. BI Pune. BI Pune unmute कर ना स्वतःला. शिरोळे साहेब शक्करवर साहेब आहेत नाही पण ना गेले परत. तर क्वेश्चन कोणी विचारलं तर आपण त्यांना घेऊया, पण इन द मीन टाइम तुम्हाला काय बोलायचं होतं बोला.
मी शेवटी बोलतो.
सर आप बोलिए सर.
नहीं वो शक्करवर साहब
चले गए, निकल गए.
If anybody.
मी बोलू बोलू.
हाँ बोला बोला.
About 10 years ago, BI headquarters had formed a committee for labor training. BI has been trying this labor training for last 10 years. This committee involved veteran BI members like Shankarbai Desai, Goa Thakurta, Ram Bhatia, Mr. Anthony from Kerala, and Mohan Rao from Bangalore, where I was also a member. This committee worked under the leadership of Professor Ved, founder of NICMAR. We worked for 3 years on how to go about it and prepared syllabus and all the minute details. Then we presented this to the Director of Technical Education, who appreciated our efforts very much. And finally, we submitted the proposal to the government. However, there was no response from the government, and we submitted the proposal to the government because we needed funds for this training. So government did not reply to any of our letters, and that's all our efforts went in vain. The proposal was not accepted and all. However, during this period, I visited various centers like Satara, Sangli, Karad, Ahmednagar, Aurangabad, and Isalkaranji. Karad Center was there at that time, PCMC, explaining the need for the training of the workers. The mentality of our contractor was that once we have a trained worker, we will go to another contractor and get better wages. It is now, after so many years, this mentality has been reduced, and people now understand that training is necessary. Even government is putting some conditions for each project. Certain number of laborers should be certified trained laborers, certified by the government. Now, our PM has decided to a training scheme wherein ample funds are available. The participant gets rupees 500 as a stipend for 1 day training. We again arranged a seminar on the training of trainers in January 2020, when 50 participants from various companies took the participated. CSDCI representative Mr. Hemant Dhallu conducted the full day seminar. These trainers were supposed to train 100 workers each on the field, who where CSDCI representative will remain present. He will take photographs and send the entire record to CSDCI. After completion of training, each worker will get 500 rupees stipend, which will be deposited in his directly in his bank. He will get site accident insurance absolutely free, and he gets a government certificate that he is a trained worker. Now everything has been stalled because of this COVID-19. In the meantime, this year ending 31st March date was crossed, and the new scheme was supposed to come on or in the first week of April, which has not come yet. So we do not know how much money the worker will get for the training. And I personally believe that unless there is some compensation for the workers, they won't come forward for the training. So now everything is stalled. Thank you.
Pinjani sahab, I think you can deliver the vote of thanks because Babura Shakkar sahab aake jaake ho rahe hain. He was traveling, So you please deliver the vote of thanks.
Okay. A very good evening to all. Hope everyone is doing fine. On behalf of B Pune Center, I would like to thank the organization of this event. Chief guest Shri Baburao Shakarwar, Vice President BI. Guest of honor Shri Bharatwak, State Chairman, BI Maharashtra. Shri D.S. Surole, Chairman, Skill Development Committee, West Zone. Shri Naresh Panpe, Co-Chairman, Skill Development Committee, West Zone. And our today's speaker, Mr. Subhash Devidas Pathak. Mr. Pathak has today made us realize how important is training of skill and unskilled labor. When laborers are trained, it eventually makes the work of engineer easy. It has been a very informative and a very good session and need of an hour. I once again thank Mr. Pathak for his valuable time and sharing his expertise with us. And I would like to thank all the members for taking out time and attending this event and making it a successful one. And last but not least, Mr. Madhu for organizing this event. Thank you all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Everybody can unmute themselves and share their thoughts.